This is Common Sense, and I'm William Ferguson. Um, well, the Charlottesville, Virginia thing is just, it's gone, okay? Um, most hideous things that have happened in the world are memorialized. Uh, if you look at the harbor, Pearl Harbor, on Hawaii, um, there's a ship there, the USS Arizona, and there's a memorial over that, and it's a remembrance. It's a remembrance of a horrific time in the life of the United States and the world. And it's a reminder of the the horrific things that man can do. There there are still some memorials to the Civil War. Now, you people can say, well, no, we can't have that. They were Confederates, so we can't have that. Well, if you can't have the memorials of the Confederates, why do you want the memorials to the Union? Okay, fair is fair. If you're going to erase the Civil War from the history books, then you got to take out the Union too. But then, if you're going to do that, there's a piece of paper in Washington D.C. that you have to tear up. It's called the Emancipation Proclamation, and Abraham Lincoln signed it into action uh, after the Civil War had been won by the Union, uh, and it said there are no slaves. The slaves are free. You have to let them go. Now, there were instances that the slaves said, you know, I like it here. So, Mr. Plantation owner or whoever it was, they said, can I stay? And they, oh, sure, why not? Stay here. Stay. If you like it here, stay. And so they did, so it wasn't all it all wasn't rainbows, unicorns, being beat, losing limbs, hangings, and such like that. No, some of the slaves actually didn't mind doing what they were doing. Now George Washington, he had slaves, and I when I think about it, I seriously doubt that somebody like George Washington would go around beating people because they weren't doing what was expected of them. Thomas Jefferson, same way. I really, so I didn't, slaves. Yeah, okay, but they did have housing. They were fed. They were clothed. Uh, and I'm sure if they were with good uh, slave owners, maybe a party every once in a while, just let loose. I mean, some of these people would have appreciated what their slave workers were doing for them, and they would do that. Um, so, you know, now where these white supremacist groups and just hatred for the black folks, it comes from. Part of it, I would say, is from these inner city kids that don't want to assimilate with Americans, even though they were born here. They think that they own everything and that they're entitled to everything. If they want it, they go steal it, or strong arm it, or pull a pistol. That works. That usually works. Unless the other guy's got a bigger gun or a gun and he blows your head off. But you know, and well, you know, if the police pull you over, then just, you know, go ahead and pull a pistol on the police and just shoot them. I'm sure they won't shoot back at you. But you know, you don't have to abide by the laws. You're black. You can pull that card. You can say, "Hey, wait, whoa, you can't do that. I'm black." And somewhere down the line, my ancestors were slaves. Well, okay, that's your ancestors. So what card do I pull? Oh, the white privilege card. Okay, let's see. I'm guessing my white privilege started when I was growing up in a small town, and then I joined the military. That was white privilege there. They joined the military, and then find a woman and get married and all that. That's all white privilege. You know, and then but I worked and worked and worked all my life, and yeah, that's white privilege there to work. But it was, you know, the biggest white privilege was the ability to go look for a job. You know, both of my feet worked, and I was able to go look for a job and find a job. So you know, see, I see it like this. Let's go ahead and get rid of all the Civil War stuff. You know, tear up the Emancipation Proclamation. And I also believe that it was Abraham Lincoln that said all men are created equal. I believe that was Abraham Lincoln said that. And so if all men are created equal, then how come these inner city kids don't go look for jobs? I mean, if we're all created equal, that means we all have equal opportunity at employment. So, you know, you could go look for a job and get a job. You know, that is, if you've got enough of an education, you know, you didn't follow the other bad kids in your neighborhood and just said, you know, I don't want to go to school. You know, the quick way to make money is to sell drugs. So you decide to sell drugs, maybe a little prostitution, and then you end up in prison for, you know, however many years, and you still don't have an education well enough to get a job. So you know, I was thinking, since we're getting rid of all the Civil War stuff, you know, like it never happened, Civil War never happened. That means slavery was never abolished. So you know, I was thinking it would be something to take all these inner city kids, not children, kids, but 18 and older. If you're able-bodied and you don't have a job and you haven't looked for a job, and you're living off of welfare, which is taxpayer money. You know, the people that work, they're working to provide for themselves, but also taxes are providing for you, and I really don't think that's fair. And so I think all these kids in the inner city, they should be put out to these growers, you know, around the United States, and have them pick fruits and vegetables, you know, to earn money. You know, so it's not such a burden on the taxpayer, you know, because these people are lazy and they don't want to do anything. You know, you can offer them some housing. You can have housing, and well, see, the thing is if you don't want to work, you don't get fired. You just get thrown out. No ride back to where you came from or nothing like that. You just get thrown out, and whatever money you did earn, that's all you get. Goodbye. And I think that's fair because, for one, it keeps the illegal immigrants from wanting to come into the country because the jobs are taken by the inner city kids, making $2, $3 an hour, and there's no reason to have these illegal immigrants coming up into the United States. It'll keep that down. It'll knock down taxes because the taxpayers in the United States aren't paying as much in taxes because we're not taking care of lazy, useless people, but these inner city people, and they're actually working in these groves and fields, picking produce for us, which that'd be a good thing. So and then everybody's screaming, "Oh, you can't do that. That's prejudice." Actually, it's not. That's more economically sound than anything. Plus, now there's another plus to this because it will also get these inner city kids out of the inner city to where the violence. I guarantee you, the violence would all but go away. You want to start riots? No, you won't be able to do that because whoever you work for, if you want to start an uprising on his property, I'm sure he'd have enough people watching you that if you started an uprising, they'd just shoot you. That's just the way it is. So you would have to learn respect for authority. I know you people don't want to do that. It's that's my outlook on it. That's common sense. It is. It makes common sense. You get these kids out of the inner city. It stops the violence. You get them working. Who cares? They don't want to be educated enough to go work in a decent job. So just throw them out in the fields and in the groves and have them pick. Have them pick stuff. It'll knock down illegal immigrants. It'll knock down taxes. So it'll help all around. Those of you that let's go ahead and knock down all the Civil War memorials, so that we just forget that the Civil War ever happened. So we can go back to having slaves and slavery. Yeah, I'm not prejudiced, and I really wouldn't agree with that, but actually I would because, but it's not out of the prejudice. It's economic sense, and it's practical sense, and it's something that could work. It really could. So thanks for watching, and blame me for everything. I did it. Don't blame the president. I did it. Okay.